was evaluated for concussion, and he's in the concussion protocol. He was at the hospital. I believe he's about to get discharged. That was a moment that is not part of the deal that anyone signs up for, even though you know it's a possibility in football to have something that you have to get taken off on a stretcher. Is all of his teammates, myself, we were all very, very concerned. So the best news that we could get is that everything is checked out, that he didn't have anything more serious than a concussion. He'll be flying back with us here on the plane.
Tough to get back into the game after for both coaches and players after a situation like that.
Yeah, no. For me, yeah, I think a lot of people struggled. I know me personally. That's if I didn't have a job to do for the organization and the rest of the players, and I didn't have that I don't know, obligation in my mind, I would have tapped it. It's not something that is comfortable for anybody, and it was not a situation that you want for any of your players or your team in general. It's some scary stuff. I'm just glad that it worked out.
Looking at the game, tough time with your short yardage running, when able to punch the ball in when you get down to the goal line. Could have used one or two of those early in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what when you lose games to very good teams, you can always point to that. We lost the turnover battle, and we were kicking field goals as opposed to trying to score touchdowns. As on top of that, we had some third downs. We, including the 3rd and 1, I think in the fourth quarter or third. There's situational football that we had been executing. We did not today, and you don't get freebies or you don't get passes in games against good teams. So that the point of that is it only means anything if you can learn from it, if you can get better from it, and that's what I'm going to be challenging the guys to do, because that's what will happen in games against good opponents if you don't take advantage of those opportunities. They win those situations and you lose, you'll lose the game. The message was that if Tua had his way, that he'd be standing here watching us play, and that we need to put forth an effort for him to because one of our teammates and our brothers has gone down. So that was beyond what everyone else was trying to do. They had expectations to come in and play pretty well, and they didn't. So tried to refocus them as best I could with that message. What goes into every one of those decisions, that it starts with your medical staff, but then there's independent specialists that look into it too. There's an entire protocol, and then you're talking to the player as well. So probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 different layers of a process and decision making, like you do with all players. Him getting cleared by people? Like, yeah. I mean, your standard operating procedure with all players in every single game.
I know you answered previously, but you were asking that you expressed a 100% certainty that Tua in last year's game against the Bills would not suffer a concussion.
Yeah, otherwise we would have reported him having a head injury. I mean, that's why the NFL has these protocols, and there's not like every single NFL game that is played. There's an independent specialist that specializes in the specialty of brain matter. So, yeah, for me, as long as I'm coaching here, if there's I'm not gonna fudge that whole situation. If there's any sort of inclination that someone has a concussion, they go into the concussion protocol, and it's very strict. Without um, yeah, people don't vary or stray. We don't mess with that. Never have, and as long as I'm the head coach, that will never be an issue that you guys have to worry about.
What allows him to be able to fly back once he played? I just got August and that's a hospital picture.
Yeah, no, that's told to me. It's not. I'm making that decision. It's more that the medical professionals that are there with him at the time deem him fit to leave, and um, you know what goes into that. I wouldn't pretend to know. I just report the news.
Results were put down this game against Sully.
Yeah, no, I saw him. I saw him lay down. I saw that it looked like he had the some stressors going on with the impact of the hit. And then once I got out to the field, um, I knew right away that this was at least a concussion. What I was worried about was other things. Um, on top of that, obviously, I was very worried about his head, but you're wanting to make sure that all things with relation to the spine and back and all that stuff. You want to make sure that's okay. But it was very clear to me from the onset that he had. I didn't really know the degree of, but I knew he had a concussion. He was asking for me, and then um, when he saw me, I could just tell there was it wasn't the same guy that I'm used to seeing. So I think that was my hope. Just because I would know guys to go and take care of business, and so I would hope at least at halftime when I'm extending that message, um, I think they put it past them. They went out and fought. So I think both sides of the ball and special teams didn't show any signs of just kind of being out of it. We just didn't make the plays we need to make. And like it was and we were playing a good team that was taking advantage of opportunities that we weren't. So I think that I feel confident that they put it behind them. Um, uh, but it's at that point in time, you have to put it behind you, but you also have to rise to the occasion and make some plays on both sides of the ball. And I think, um, we just weren't very complimentary like we had been in the previous weeks.
I talked about the frustration of closing a game. You had some opportunities there. The block field goal, we set your point, some penalties, a couple of interceptions.
Yeah.
The tight end defense did a lot of good things for you.
No, I
The game, but just couldn't get over
I think that is, something that you don't want to run away from the frustration. I think that you have to experience this in some part to really go after all the little details that it takes to win NFL football games. So it's very frustrating. You feel like you wasted an opportunity to play toe to toe with a very good team and potentially beat them. But that's the point. It's not supposed to be easy. And if you're wanting to, um, play teams like this on stages like this, you have to you can't do some of those things. Otherwise, you're gonna end up on this side of the stick, on the short side of the stick. But to me, it's incredibly frustrating, with good reason, and that's part of what we do in professional football. And you do one of two things with it. You either use it to make you get better, or you live with things that you can't change and um, get worse. So our plan is learn from it, and move forward. You know, and the only thing you can do really to me with losses is make them purposeful. And how do you make them purposeful? Well, you have to get you have to be better from it than had you won the game. So that's the way I'm going to approach it with the team. And so far they haven't done anything but um, answered the bell whenever I asked them. So I feel confident that we can get that done.
Given what happened tonight, is there anything you feel like in hindsight that maybe you should have done or could have done differently after he went down the first time?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If I would have, that would be irresponsible in the first place, and I shouldn't be in this position.
Given the manner in which he went down today and kind of how it was similar to how he yesterday, do you guys feel like maybe you feel confident that you got the correct diagnosis the first time, that it wasn't back and his back issue?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that an injury from last week um, made him fall the same way this week. But yeah, I do not have any, like, absolutely zero patience for, or will ever put a player in a position for them to be in harm's way. That is, like, not what I'm about at all, and no outcome of a game would ever influence me being irresponsible as the head coach of the football team. I got out there pretty quick. I did notice some guys around um, uh, that were pretty worried about it. I'll tell you this much: if you guys, or if people were ever curious or questioning if Tua is the leader of the team, I think you found out pretty quick. It was a gut punch to a lot of people, and I'm just very, very happy that he's, like I said, that he's, uh, you know, that it wasn't anything more. I'm very happy with that, and I just want to get him healthy and right for himself and for the football team, whenever that is. Yeah, he was responding. Once I got out there, when I got out there, which was pretty quick, he was conscious. I could just tell by what we're communicating and how he's talking to me that he was in the midst of a concussion for sure. I'm no medical expert, but it was pretty obvious to me that uh, he he was just trying to grasp what was going on, what had just happened. There was some little of that foggy nature to it. Well, I wouldn't say that. I'll never be comfortable with it. It's just not my personality, and I'm pretty emotionally invested in these guys. So it's also part of the game. Uh, I don't think it would. It's not something that goes away, but it's not something that's in the forefront of my mind. To answer your question, uh, it's not. I don't think it's something I'd ever get comfortable with. But you know that that it is an unfortunate part of the game. So if I didn't have so many other people depending on me to do my job, maybe it would be hard to get over. But I don't really have that option with regard to the responsibility that I feel for the Miami Dolphins organization and the fan base.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.